Is there nothing more fucking annoying but when you buy a good cookbook and the recipes don't work? Because I've got a couple, and I won't name them because I actually know a couple of the chefs who wrote them, and I just feel like fucking jamming up their ass. There's one in particular, and I'll give the chefs of Australia who love a good cookbook a hint. The recipe is called a chocolate biscuit souffle, and I reckon I've tried to make it 20 times, and it's clearly fucking wrong. I don't know.
Something doesn't add up.
No.
Hello, TK.
Pete, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Do you like my clap?
No
Like
comment.
I've all grown up.
Clap to sync the audio.
Yeah.
There's
Made it in life.
It was exciting. It wasn't.
Been looking forward to it.
Wasn't an overly powerful clap.
I feel shamed out.
That's okay.
Don't listen to it.
Feel bullied.
Very powerful clap.
That's what I
Practice.
thought, Corey.
It's very strong. Felt the percussion from here.
The percussion.
Jesus. All right. Question for you, Mr. Kelly.
Always get nervous when you say this.
No. I'm just trying to work out how to phrase this. I've probably got 11 questions.
ATO reviewers.
No.
How are you going to stir me up?
No. There's two-part question. One, is there one cookbook that you think everyone should have as a reference point or should read for any other reason?
Mm-hmm.
And two, why haven't you done a cookbook? Answer the first one first, please.
Yes. There's probably...
Doesn't have to, if there's a couple, let's throw that in the mix.
Yeah, so 3 cookbooks I say to any young chef who loves food.
Yep.
LaRousse, we've got it in front of us here on my coffee table. The Bank cookbook, which is also on my coffee table, and White Heat from
Marco. Okay, let's
closely followed by Kitchen Confidential, because I think it's just a great read.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go one by one. So LaRousse Gastronomique is probably one of the original sort of cookbooks, right? It's more like almost a textbook.
It's a
isn't
Bible.
It? So
yeah,
it's got, and from a French cooking point of view, it is everything, right?
Mhm.
That's where you kind of start.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything particularly about that book? Is it just because it has all of that in it, or is it the history and
yeah, both? It's got like it'd be hard for you to pick up a cookbook other than something like LaRousse. I know that Maggie Beer's got one similar. Stephanie Alexander's Cook's Companion. What are the mother sauces?
Yeah.
How do you make a mayonnaise? You know, where it's not it's about cooking in general, not
it's not a specific recipes about X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like it's the fundamental foundations of cookery is what's in LaRousse. And I think any young chef should have that.
Okay. And because that's French cookery, right?
Yeah. But that's the basis of basically all of it.
That was what I was going to ask. And I think it's one of those things where, like, a lot of people, particularly young people that look at that book, it can be quite intimidating as well because, A, it's massive.
Yeah.
B, there's a lot of information in there. It's like, where do I start?
Pass me that other one, Corey, the dictionary. Because this is one that's followed me around for years. I was saying to Corey earlier tonight.
Oh, yeah. God, I haven't seen that book for ages.
Food Lover's Companion.
Yep.
It's basically, I'm a terrible speller like most chefs, but I used to... that's right. I used to, when I was my first head chef's gig, I'd have that on my bench.
Yeah.
And I'd just open it up to a page and say to my apprentice, what is mezcal? What is, and just
anything,
pick it. And then it was a way of educating ourselves in a fun way.
Yep.
Because there's some things in here that I thought that I knew, and then I didn't. Like, what is corkage? Like there's stuff like that is so important in our game.
Yeah.
And I think people get a bit confused about that compared to coffee table cookbooks.
Yeah.
This would be one of the most used books that I've ever had in my life.
Do you think that one of the reasons why these things are probably even more important now is from a chef and cooking point of view, there's no longer college blocks. Like everything's now competency based. So you're not getting questions in your college block about this kind of stuff, or you're not being given the that kind of learning, the traditional learning.
Yeah, maybe. I think that Yeah, there may be a bit of that, and I think, unfortunately for us, the time that used to get put into training a young chef it's
less.
gone. It's shrunk by less than half, I reckon.
Yeah.
So I know when I was an apprentice chef, and I wasn't out on a limb here, but a lot of apprentices were tested on things out of that book before we actually
Before you're allowed to go and move on, right?
Yeah, correct.
And I think that's the thing is that these days, I remember, again, many, many years ago, like even when you'd get training organisations that would come into venues and they'd sort of sign off and that kind of stuff. And I don't know if even that happens anymore, but, those they were asking questions. Like I remember our apprentices at 2 that they would get nervous before these guys would come in because like I'm going to get an exam today.
And we try and be strong about the fact that we won't sign apprentices off unless they've done it.
Yeah.
Because
why would you? That's
and I can tell you why we wouldn't, and that is because when you leave one of our establishments, it comes with it's no different that if I seen a young chef come out of any of the restaurants that you manage, I'd go, that's got a reputation of doing things properly. So that there's an element of not exclusivity, but there's an element of that you guys are doing it properly.
Yeah.
So what comes along with that is there's a level of expectation for me when I hire that guy that he's going to be able to make mayonnaise, ice cream, bread.
Absolutely.
And you can't say that about very many places.
And I think we may have talked about this before. There's a lot of businesses these days, and I've certainly seen this before, where someone might be in there because what is it? It's kind of 3 years-ish, kind of now.
Yeah.
It used to be 4, roughly, but people will get to say 2 years in, and they'll be like, "This guy or this girl is not okay. We need to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Let's just qualify them and get them off our hands."
Because then you get the government will give you a couple of grand for it
Right.
as well.
So you qualify them. They're now in the industry with a qualified chef that can't, debone a fish.
Yep.
Can't
and
make
then,
a stock.
And then Ma and Pa Kettle, who have decided that they're not working in the mines anymore, will mortgage their house and open a cafe or a restaurant because that's been their life ambition because they watch MasterChef. They can't get a chef because a really strong professional doesn't want to work for those people. So they get the guy who's just qualified, who can't count and can't make mayonnaise, who has been qualified because they can't be fucked anymore.
Yeah. And
the result is in 8 months, these people have lost their house.
Yeah. And that's probably more so from just the understanding of not understanding food costings and the basic stuff that they used to do as well.
That's what you got. You learn that shit with time in the building.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. So
I work with cookbooks. There's to me, there's a couple of different categories, and that is there's coffee table cookbooks and there's working books.
Yeah.
And I've got a great selection of all of them.
So those two, just the LaRousse and Food Lovers, they're definitely working.
Oh, mate,
books,
they've
right?
got food all over them.
So why bank?
Because for me, it's really unique. One, I reckon it's arguably one of the best restaurants that Australia's ever seen. That and Est in Melbourne, when that was there.
Yeah.
And the format of the book, because it was so before its time.
Yeah.
And I might get Corey to insert some pictures of it here. That there's like a day in the life of Bank where it shows a timeline. It's like a diary entry from I think it's 3 o'clock in the morning.
It's real as well, right?
Correct. And it basically takes you on a journey of what it takes to open a restaurant in the morning time and close it at night. And I think it paints a picture of what life is like.
The reality of it. And then Kitchen Confidential, I think, is one of those books, and there's almost some controversy now around Anthony Bourdain and some of the things that I suppose some people look at him in a different light.
What? I'll
just
defend him until I fucking.
Yeah. Oh,
Mate, he's a loose rooster.
You don't need to look very hard. There was some, about. There's many different things. That's all I'm going to say.
Is it recent?
No, it's been around for a long time. But there's differing opinions of him basically, and it's interesting because I suppose Kitchen Confidential, like as we all probably did, read that book when you're getting into it, and I certainly did, and was like, "What the hell?" And then also was like, "Well, I've seen 90% of that myself as well." And then there's other books. There's a really good book written. It's an almost an Australian, not version of, but it's called High Season, and it talks about a fairly well-known restaurant in Byron Bay that in the 90s and the goings on in that place and
Debauchery.
you know, it's actually a really sad book. It's a really sad ending. And there's a lot of stuff like that but again, it's real.
Yeah.
And I think that those kind of books do sort of peel back the facade a little bit of the glamour.
Agree.
But also some of the things that are in Kitchen Confidential do get glamorized when they're not great. And there's things that happen in that book that should never have happened ever. And we all have seen things and heard things and whatever of this industry, and we haven't been great at lots and lots of things. And hopefully we're getting better at them and the way that we treat people and everything else. But it is interesting that when you and I certainly know a couple of people that do not have the similar feelings that I do towards Anthony Bourdain, because I feel like, and I think a lot of people that are outside of the industry got to know him through TV, and maybe didn't actually know the backstory as well. So I think that's had that sort of is a thing for me, and I'm conscious of that, and I know because I'm probably closer to your camp than what I might be sounding like right now, but I'm certainly aware that there's other people that have differing opinions of him, but I do think that book is it's raw.
It certainly is.
It's written a long time ago.
It's written, it is, but again,
it's a different time.
I know, but it doesn't justify everything though. This is the thing.
It doesn't.
And I know we use that term a lot. That it was another time, but it was 100%, and it was real, and it did happen, and I get all that. But it is interesting when people, particularly from outside the industry, read that book. They're like, "What the fuck is going on?"
I'm sure you're a very different person now as you were pre-COVID, and that was only 5 years ago. I reckon everyone here is a different person.
Of course.
Yeah, and that was a different time.
Yes.
That was only 5 years ago.
Yes, it was.
And Kitchen Confidential was in the 90s.
Correct.
Which is 30 years ago.
That's all right. We don't need to spell it out like that. Thanks.
Long time.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
3 decades.
And things have changed. I think that's probably the positive thing there, that things are not exactly as they were back then. But there is some stuff in there that shouldn't, it's just potentially glamorized and maybe shouldn't.
Mindsets have changed.
Well, hopefully. Not always. Not
but
everywhere.
For a lot of people, there's some things in that book that I hear, I'm like, it doesn't make me feel comfortable.
No, exactly.
Kitchen Confidential is not a cookbook either.
No, exactly.
Like when he's talking about, what is it, that the bride comes in and one of the the waiters or the cooks or something is out the back shelf. I'm like, that stuff just makes me feel uncomfortable.
That's gross, exactly. But but it should, and that's the thing. It's like, but when people potentially glamorize that, it's like that's not awesome. No. So anyway, but I think that it is an interesting thing that you bring that book into when we're talking about cookbooks, because there's no recipes in that book. Oh, there probably is actually, and there might be a couple of things.
The way he's talking about it though, he's talking about it in like a reflective tone, being a wild time, not saying that it is the way to go about it.
And that's the thing. Certainly before he died, there was a lot of conversations happening with him going, no, I get it, that wasn't okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's important to sort of acknowledge as well.
Yeah.
But I think that there's this cookbook thing, and I'm just trying to think of other books in that same sort of realm where they're food related. Or even movies, things like 100-Foot Journey or Chef.
White Heat.
Yeah. What's the other?
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah,
No,
I haven't actually seen that. Is it good?
Is it Burn?
Burnt.
I thought it was really good.
Is it?
I thought it was very. It was probably the closest thing to a Hollywood version of a chef show. I think. Bear's good, except it gives me PTSD.
Yeah, that is so interesting
it's
you
just
say
the
that.
Fucking yelling, man.
Because almost everyone I know that is in the industry gets to a point in that, and like my best mate is like, I can't. He's like season 2. He was like, dude, you won't be able to get through this. I'm like, why?
Fast forwarded a
and
little.
I got to season 2, and I'm like, I've stopped. I was like,
Yeah.
I can't. It's so intense, and you're right. It's like
It's the
this
yelling
anxiety,
and it's the constant sound of that docket printer that's going.
Yeah.
Just
For me, it was the shift in atmosphere. So like when you would be walking in the street, air was reasonably fresh, but then you'd walk into the kitchen and you'd smell it. That smell, the oil, everything else.
Yeah.
For me, that's
the regret.
That's when there were points where like I was not enjoying my job that much, where I was like, I reckon I could throw myself in front of that car and get a day off work. It's like-
You probably wouldn't though. Like, I'll pick you up at 4 from the hospital. Get in here.
Imagine it being in like that mindset.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. And that's the bit that is not okay.
yeah, but like because people were mean, like
Absolutely.
really fucking mean.
Absolutely. And we've had guests on here. I mean, Faz threw a microwave at someone. There's plenty of stories out there. And
Mate, he worked at bank
yeah,
with
yeah.
the rest of the ridiculous fucking.
There was that
hard-asses
crew
in
of
that book.
people that were in that
Fucking
book
crazy.
at that time, or in that restaurant at that time.
Unbelievable.
Is there anything? Are there any other books for you that? And I think it's really interesting to say that there's like the coffee table versus the cookbook.
Yeah.
I
always say, what do you want to use? If you want to buy a great cookbook, what do you want to do with it? Do you just want to sit it on the coffee table and just froth on it? Because there's plenty of them out there.
I've got plenty of cookbooks, and I'm not necessarily proud of this that I've never opened.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to get that. And I might like go like this, and like, something will happen. I'll be like, I'll come back to that. And that 20 years later, it's still sitting there.
I like the Momofuku book
Yep.
because it's more like a journal, like an unfolding of
Yep.
how it happened,
Yeah.
But
rather than
the Avery, I don't think I've opened that, and that's one of the best cocktail bars in Chicago.
Remember when Fair and Adria came with that three
Got that?
3-book set?
Yeah.
And everyone lost their mind, and then it's just like,
What-
I don't
what are
understand
those
it.
two
And yeah, it's just like, what is happening in this book?
because where can I buy?
Yeah, agar at that time, or
it was like
calcium
$800.
carbonate.
It was so expensive.
It was really expensive,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
I
But I remember everyone losing their mind about it. Books for cooks. It was just like, I need that book.
One of my very first apprentice chefs brought me that book.
Really?
When he qualified. He said he saved up so long and he brought it for me.
Really?
Yeah, I've got it in there.
I downloaded a
Wow.
pirated copy.
There we go. Allegedly.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
You're on
I
it.
didn't. LimeWire.
Corey, I was going to say, Corey's on BitTorrent trying to get these. Jesus. Kazaa.com.
But there's so many great coffee table cookbooks. You're never going to do a recipe out of. Like the Nomad cookbook. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, it's so good.
Nomad Sydney.
No. In the States.
Yeah.
And New York. The book at the back of the book has got a cocktail book inside the folder, and then at the front of the book it's got the blueprint of when the hotel and the restaurant was built.
Really?
Yeah, in actual blueprint. It
That's
folds
cool.
out to about 3 feet by 2 feet.
Well, it's like
It's very cool.
Ben Shuri's book
Yeah.
that has an entire chapter on lasagna. And it's like, with there's like 6 recipes in there, I think, from, the base stock to the bechamel and everything that's sort of in between, like how to cure the boar bacon required to make the bolognese and that kind of stuff. But I love that. I think that's awesome. And that, again, that's not a cookbook.
Thomas Keller's sous vide.
Yeah.
That's similar.
That's one of those books I've got and have opened maybe 10 times.
Yeah.
Again, because I'm not going to, and I'm not an immersion circulator guy. I'm not going to have one at home. I just couldn't be bothered. I'm just lazy like that. It's just, I'll take direct heat every day of the week.
Sorry, you go.
I got a gift from Solid Kinetics. the other day.
I did too. Actually, we should mention that.
How fucking
Solid
good!
Techniques.
Solid
what I said.
Techniques.
How fucking good
It's
are
definitely
those
not.
pans?
They are. I actually don't think I have the license to drive one yet. I need to really look into it.
I've given
So,
mine a hiding this week.
have you?
They are really fucking good.
See, we've got.
I was so skeptic about that handle getting hot, and it legitimately does not.
I've used it once, and I was absolutely blown away with was the heat.
Yeah.
Because we have a ceramic cooktop.
Yep.
It is the worst. And finding pans that actually you can get heat through is almost impossible.
Yeah.
This thing, it's like I put it on, and all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit, that's actually got heat. And I
rattling on the
wasn't
induction
prepared for it.
range.
Exactly right. It's just it's so fun. Put water on, it's like it explodes. It was the heat is incredible. So I need to like literally spend a few hours just playing with it, I think, and just not trying to cook too much, because I didn't quite nail the first use. I'm not going to lie. So
Very, very good.
yeah, I'm very, very. So thank you to the guys.
Oh yeah.
I think Mark
Solid
Henry was
Techniques.
saying that your old medium was your new high.
Did he say that actually?
Yeah.
Did he?
I'm gonna have to go back and re-listen to the episode
Yeah,
again
yeah.
and get some more tips off him. Actually, what is good? Their website is great, with like hints and tips and
What
that
about
kind
the
of stuff. So-
packaging that it comes in?
Solid,
It comes in like the calico bag.
bag.
It's very impressive.
So I put it in. I did the wash and kept I'm very, very gentle, and then put the calico bag back and put it into the pan area in the cupboard, and then I come back and the cover's been taken off it. And I just like put it back on. And I was like, if that goes
Jen
back off again.
Jen doesn't
I was
like the bag.
The bag's got to stay on that thing because that's a very good pan compared to these other things we bought at Robin's Kitchen, which for $29.99. It's like, no, this is
half the
serious
Teflon
pan.
sitting in your guts right now.
What's interesting is after that episode, one of our mutual friends, Travis, called me up and he's like, do I need to really buy these pans? And I was like, mate,
Fuck yeah,
yes, you do. And I think he spent his entire yearly salary on pans after that. So,
Mate, you'll only ever buy them once.
yeah, well, that's the thing.
Or send them back.
Was it
because there's
500?
was it 500?
Well, he said multi-generational guarantee,
which is
awesome.
a long fucking time.
But it is actually, it's funny you mentioned the pan because the books are kind of like that as well, where
totally agree.
you will keep that book forever. And I think the other one that you mentioned was Stephanie Alexander, The Cook's Companion. That's certainly for me when I was young, like probably because I started cooking pretty early at home because mum was working, so it was basically my job or my sister's job to get dinner started most nights, and not every night, but when we could help, we would. My mum will probably argue that, that book was in the house, and it was something that was pretty thumbed through because my mum was a good cook, still is a good cook. And so that was always one. And when I got one, same thing. And there's so many recipes in there that I just know. Like there's an orange cake recipe where you boil the whole orange. So good. And it's like, it's simple.
Melissa's got the New Zealand version of the Woman's Weekly cookbook.
Oh, yeah.
And what does she roll out? I think it's either a pancake recipe or there's like
something really classic.
I think it's a pancake recipe, a pikelet recipe, like a date and walnut loaf.
Yeah.
So, oh my fucking God, it's so good. And absolutely fail safe.
And that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Those recipes have been proven time and time and time again.
Not 18 grams of anything. It's 1 tablespoon or 1 cup or half a cup. Or
no immersion circulator anywhere near the place, which I love. It's just keep it simple for me. That's really good. And there's one other that we use a heap of, two others probably that we use a bit at home. One is Kylie Kwong.
Oh, yeah.
I love her food and love some of the way that she cooks that style of food. And there's another one. It's just called Pad Thai, and it's clearly it's a translated book, and the English is horrendous, it's the most used book in our kitchen. It's got stuff oyster sauce all over it. And
is there nothing more fucking annoying but when you buy a good cookbook and the recipes don't work? Because I've got a couple, and I won't name them because I actually know a couple of the chefs who wrote them, and I just feel like fucking jamming up their ass. There's one in particular, and I'll give the chefs of Australia who love a good cookbook a hint. The recipe is called a chocolate biscuit souffle, and I reckon I've tried to make it 20 times, and it's clearly fucking wrong. I don't know.
Something doesn't add up.
No. I reckon I've thrown about $400 worth of ingredients in the rubbish bin because of it.
Jesus.
Yeah, there's other, in particular pastry, which I understand is challenging to write a book with because it's so precise.
So finicky, yeah.
But Philippa Sibley, her cookbook, fucking hell, it's a cracker.
Yeah.
That Sauterne creme caramel in that recipe and her lemon tart will go down in history as two of the greatest desserts you'll ever make. Do yourself a favour, buy that cookbook just to make those two desserts.
It's interesting you say that because I think, and certainly because I'm not a pastry, it's not for me. I'm happy to say I can cook a little bit, but cooking pastry, not for me. It's too precise. I want to just do this, taste it, fix it,
bit of salt,
throw it in the bin, start again. I've only ever had to do that once, actually throw an entire meal out. And it was when I was cooking a stir fry. We had some people around, this is years and years and years ago, and instead of grabbing the honey just for a little bit, I put golden syrup in there instead. Shit. That was not good.
Yeah, not good.
That was very bad. It was like Anzac cookie / stir fry. I was
at a friend's house the other day and they were making butter chicken. And they were like, oh, it's just lacking this. It's like a donut. It's just lacking flavour.
Butter?
No, I tried it. I'm like, you got any ketchup menace, some ABC sweet soy, and some fish sauce? And they're like, it's fucking butter chicken. I'm like, give it to me. And I put a bit of a shake in both, and they're like, fuck. It's amazing when you add umami like that to
MSG.
Just basically MSG.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's fucking like you've literally
Just
jammed a
dialed it
cattle
up.
product
Yeah,
in its ass
exactly.
because it was so good.
Yeah.
And it's suddenly so flavoursome.
Yeah. And
They
that's the thing with two.
They've been thirsty ever since.
Yeah,
but-
I haven't slept for 3 weeks, but it's good butter chicken. Okay, so then the second part of that question was why haven't you done one?
I come close. There's a lot of work in it, right? And
Yeah, but you're not afraid of work. I mean,
no. But I always try and make sure that my work is dollar productive because I've got a lot of people that rely on me. So, and I think a cookbook sometimes it can be a bit selfish because I'd need to devote so much time, and I'd like to do one with Mitch because I think he deserves it.
That's what I was going to say. Well, you've got now multiple vehicles where you could probably the venues themselves. I mean, Rice Boy Cookbook would work. Simple as that, just would. I think Market's probably not far away from that.
But look, I just look at some of the. Mitch is one of the greatest chefs I've ever worked with in my life, right? But some of his recipes are ridiculous.
But also, do you want people knowing the recipes?
I don't care. I'm not fussed about the recipes. He may be a bit different, but the recipe is not what makes the dish.
The thing is, you don't have to do exactly like. There's always that,
Mate, I could give you my beef curry recipe and we'll make three and three will be different. But so I'm not afraid of that. But there's just like how many ingredients you've made the beef curry at Michael Bistro more than me.
17,000.
1,000 fucking recipes.
Just the green curry because you before you make that you've got to make the paste.
Yeah.
Before you make the curry, and I remember the green curry paste took about 2 hours just to make the curry paste.
It probably takes you an hour to weigh the ingredients.
And I think that's the thing is a lot of people don't have the patience for that as well.
No.
So that's where sometimes that kind of cooking is like it's too hard.
I remember I went into Giddy Gauge when we were opening that up, and I had to make the butter chicken recipe, and I said to Mitch, "We're not making a 2 times recipe. We're going to make a fucking 10 times recipe." And he's like, "Well, you just weigh it up." And I looked at the ingredients. I'm like, "There's 96 cloves. Can't I just weigh a clove?" He goes, "No, you need to count them." And I thought he was joking.
Precise.
I was still in, yeah, right, fuck off. Hey? And he goes, "You need to count the cloves and count the cardamom." I'm like, really?
Counting them
And then sure enough, I made the curry.
with 95.
No, I just fucking weighed it. Exactly did it. And then he tried it and he goes, You didn't count them, did you?
He knew straight away.
And I don't know whether he just knew me or he
was
could
just-
taste
he's
it.
like,
It
there's-
fucking tasted good. It tasted good.
But it wasn't the same.
But I could tell he was not happy. And I reckon if it was somebody else, he would have tore him up.
Yeah.
I remember when we were at the Asian Food Festival.
Yeah.
And I've always been trying to twist Mitch's arm about selling them the Rice Boy spice.
Oh, yeah.
And Jimmy, like he was, Mitch was saying, if we try to sell it commercially, we'll just lose the quality. There'll be something that'll lose a step along the way. And I was like, yeah, well, there's like a lot of things that you get, like the sesame seeds, the bulk sesame seeds in there. And then Jimmy said, maybe you can, buy the sesame seeds pre-ground. And then Mitch is like, that's it. You lose the quality there. Like he instantly
at each step.
Each step, one little thing, like you
changes everything.
You take it off.
Yeah.
He goes, you cannot,
And that's
change anything.
That's the difference. Like I'm just thinking now with wine production, spirit production, like spirit production, for example, with gin.
Yeah.
Like like the guys at Harrington Bugord, they weigh everything down to the leaves.
Money and time before they even put the juice in the
18,
bottle.
18 months of
Hell.
just playing with and the amount of distillates they did to get to that point. And a lot of distillers in the same kind of boat where they do all of this work. But again, I could go in and follow the recipe, but if I didn't measure exactly that amount of lime leaf or that exact amount of rind of the
if
whatever.
I'm following my recipe, I'm going to go in and buy the ground cinnamon, not the cinnamon quill.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
I think that's the thing. There's a practicality for a lot of those things as well. And I think that's one of the things with a lot of cookbooks is where you get to that point. You open it up, you're like, absolutely not that one.
I just got to decide.
Because it's like there's 4 pages and I haven't even started.
One of the big things for me is what's the why behind it? Like what? Because I reckon
why you do it.
Because for me, I came close years ago when I had the wine bar, and I wanted to do a dinner party book. It was kind of when the 4 Ingredients girls started because they're quite big on the Sunshine Coast. And I thought there's no reason why I can't do a cookbook where anyone can take a recipe in the book and produce a really good entree, main, dessert for a dinner party on a Friday night.
So simplifying it?
Simplifying, but it doesn't necessarily need to be simple, mate. Because as we've said 1,000 times on this podcast, if you show a little bit of restraint, it doesn't need. That's why I think Jamie Oliver's food's so good. People might rag him off, but I reckon that's tall poppy. His food is really fucking tasty.
See, that's another one we've got, and that cookbook gets wheeled out from time to time because it's again those recipes have been tested 100,000 times.
One of my favourite cookbooks, mate, is the River Cafe cookbook. There's nothing that's over the top in that thing.
Yeah.
So I reckon, to be honest with you, if you're asking me now, will I ever do a cookbook? I reckon I might even do a couple if I'm ever in a situation where I can afford to do a couple and do it well. And I know that you can do online books now, which is really good.
Yep.
I'd just like to go, well, I would like to do one with Mitch and Eliza only because they deserve that. And I think that it would sell quite well.
Yep.
But I'd love to do one that I know is going to get used a lot.
Yeah.
Because it would mean so much to me if you were texting me going, fucking tried that salad from that book. And so I'd really like that.
I only had 48 cloves, so I couldn't do it. So
you won't be counting shit in this one, mate. It'll be going with a set of scales.
Yeah.
So, eventually I reckon I will. I've just got to get it clear in my head. One, what would be first and what's the format of it?
Yeah.
Because I look at some of the cookbooks that I have in my house. And I'm very fortunate that I've got a lot. And it's been my vice for years. Like I love great cookbooks.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. There's so many coffee table books that I'll never use a recipe out of. But it doesn't make me enjoy them any less.
It's interesting you say that, like the format. I think that's a big thing because there's still, like we're saying with that, like with the bank one where you got the day in the life kind of thing. That's one part of it. Now there's so many different ways you can take it. There's almost that, like with Ben Shuri's book, it's sort of almost part novel, part story about the restaurant, part autobiography, part cookbook, and it's like there's a lot in it. So there's so many different angles you can take.
Totally.
That you could if you do it well, which I'm sure you would, you could come up with something pretty bloody interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah, I reckon, and it's just about getting that format right, and then there's the testing of it as well.
Yeah,
you've got
that's the bit that's time and money as well, right?
Totally agree. I mean, I look at I've had good combos with in particular Philip Johnson because he's done so many cookbooks and he's got some amazing books. I remember being a young chef just in awe of him. I'd see him and I'd be like, fucking hell, it's Philip Johnson. And over the years, I've got to become good mates with him. And he told me that the only time you're ever going to make any money out of a cookbook is when you're going through the reprint. So you've sold the first lot.
Yeah.
Which will basically cover the cost of the book, and the second print is where you make some money.
Yeah.
I haven't spoken to Adriano Zumbo about it. I know he's got a couple of really good ones.
Yeah.
And Aiden's a mad fan. My young bloke is a mad fan of Adriano's, and his books are great and they work really well. So I'm assuming he's sold a shitload of them. It'd be interesting. I don't know whether I ever want to do it for a money making thing because I think you could become disappointed pretty quickly.
Yeah.
It'd need to be. I think it adds a bit of clout, like it gives you a little bit of credibility from an operator's perspective. So, and I'd like to do that for Mitch, in particular, Mitch.
I also think it adds that experience for a guest to the restaurant as well. They can go in there and go, that was delicious. Oh, let's grab that on the way out. Yeah. So, whether it's that or, wineries do the same thing. And with the even things that aren't necessarily like the dogs, like the winery dogs book, that thing sold so many bloody copies because people just get into a winery, get on the gas and like go,
bang,
this is hilarious.
got to leave with something.
This is great. We'll take that. We'll take 2 bottles of Shiraz and a book with photo of dogs.
What about you? Do you buy any of the wine books that come out every year? You don't?
No,
really. Because you're trying them, right?
Oh, yeah.
You don't need somebody else's opinion. You got your own.
It depends on what it is.
Yep.
Like if it's a guide, probably not. There's certain things that I might use as reference points from time to time. And, like in Australia, probably the big one is Halliday. And, I've got some great friends that work there now and do a lot of those. Like that book's kind of evolved because it was all about James and one person, and it's now a team of people because it's such a big exercise and they're covering so many more wines than what they used to. So that's a machine.
Would you recommend that one?
I think for people who are getting into wine and certainly if you want to learn about regions and you want to learn about wineries within regions, then it's awesome.
It's one of the, again, I'm just a novice, but if somebody says to me, I want to buy a really good wine book for my husband or wife, I'd say you should buy Halliday.
Yeah, I think I'd start with that. Tyson Stelz's champagne guide every year is
that's a
definitely
beautiful
worthwhile.
book too.
Beautiful book.
We sell it at
and
the wine store.
Super detailed. I mean, really, really detailed. The Australian Wine Arc by Andrew Kayard is getting to the next level. That's like super nerd, but awesome. Incredible stories there. Max Allen has so many great books that he writes in a way that is very engaging with people that don't necessarily, it's not about, you don't have to have the knowledge going in, I think, so that's really good. There's plenty out there that I would certainly recommend, but they're probably the starting points. And then I don't know. There's lots of wine books that aren't necessarily about this is what it tastes like or this is what you should do and things like that. Like there's the Madame Clicquot, the book about Clicquot, absolutely fantastic.
It's a good read.
I said to you earlier, I started reading this book about Stalin's wine cellar that an Australian retailer went to sort of find in the late 90s. So I'm sort of halfway through that at the moment. Which so they're wine books, but they're not really.
Yep.
But there's nothing. I don't go out and buy a wine magazine or a wine book.
I used to buy the Michelin Guide for the US and for Europe, and I used to buy the Zagat.
Zagats,
which for years
for New York or
yeah. I used to do it for New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles.
Yeah, okay.
Because I just wanted to keep in the loop of what's going on. What about so you asked me about a question about cookbooks. What would be your favorite if you had to pick three? What would you be picking?
Stephanie Alexander, no, like straight up and down.
Straight up.
Yeah, straight up. That'd definitely be in the
book.
mix. Geez, that's a good question. This is again for practical reasons. David Pugh, the restaurant, Two Small Rooms cookbook. It's probably no longer in print, I wouldn't imagine.
I had a copy of that.
But yeah, I'm sure I've got copies somewhere at home. But that book, the recipes in there, Dave was very good at keeping things simple. So there's a couple of recipes in there that are really good. His ice cream recipe is fantastic for people that are wanting to get into making ice cream. And you don't want to,
There's about 40,000 egg yolks in it.
Yeah, it's very good for
fairly
you.
rich.
So yeah, that's one that I would always I liked, and that reference point, for me, my life and my career and working with Dave for so long was always good. So that's definitely one.
How do you reckon he's handling retirement?
Not well. Not well at all. I should actually reach out. We used to joke that he's the only man in the world that had a chopping board in his glove box so that when he was at a red light, he could have swung it out and chopped some carrots because he never stops.
He's one of the best chefs I've ever worked with.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd agree with that. And yeah, I don't know. I think... I don't know, that little pad thai book gets a run at our place, but mainly for the pad CU. But it's
it's endless what you can spend on them because fuck, there's some nice books.
Absolutely,
like those, like the Old Bully cookbooks and the book that Peter Gilmore's just rolled out a couple of years ago. Like just beautiful
absolutely.
Books.
And there's also you get into things like. Like books like seafood, like John Sussman, great book about Australian seafood and those kind of things. It's just like, and I suppose it's like what you're into, like what's your special. If you love barbecue, there's 10,000 barbecue books out there. Books on fish cookery. Has Josh Nyland done something? He should have.
He's done a book. Yeah, I think even Grant Akers or Gordon Ramsay wrote the foreword. Some rock star.
Yeah, and Justified.
Crazy good.
And there was another wine book I was thinking of just before that's now completely slipping my mind as something I would
remember. The Belmondo cookbook that had the cage of toffee.
No,
like they did
on the
dessert. On the front cover of the book was a photo of one of his famous desserts, which was like how you spin sugar around a ladle so it becomes a cage.
Yeah,
and I remember looking at the front cover of that book, going, God, I hope I'm one day good enough that I can make that. Because that is crazy. And when I went to
burn yourself 800 times.
I went to Belmondo when it was opened at the Rocks in Sydney, and I was like, this is one of the most beautiful restaurants I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
It's not there anymore, which is a real shame. But
there's a lot of good restaurants that aren't around anymore.
I know, that's when Rockpool was literally 50 metres down the road.
The original
original Rockpool. And my wife said, there's no music playing in here, which is unusual. And the waiter goes, if you'd like noise, I can open the front door for you. I'm like, holy shit, you can't get away with fucking
Jesus,
like that anymore.
Exactly.
But cookbooks, they're the bane of my existence, but I love them to death.
Yeah, I think, and it is that thing when you go into like a good cookbook shop, like Books for Cooks is one where
God.
you walk in there and
Yeah,
you're like,
good.
man, just take all my money.
Well,
Thanks very
you're just going to be there for 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. But it is interesting. The more I think about it, it's like wine is not in a similar. It's nowhere near that. I mean, there's a couple of again reference points. Like I've got a book on Domaine della Romney Conti, which is huge and so thick and has so much information on there. And it's just like it's crazy how much information's in there. And you almost get to the point. It's like I can't possibly get all that in. There's too much information.
And there's some fucking stupid ones out there. Some of the cocktail cookbooks out there that want you to make a cocktail with fucking wild violets in there and stuff. It's like, come on.
Yeah, make it practical. I think that's the thing when it comes down to it. I think there is that different sort of categories, and if it's something I'm never like, you have those aspirational ones. Like, I'm never going to make anything out of Ferran Adria's book. Simple as that. No. I'm just never. Would I want to look at it? Yeah, 100%. But I'm never going to go and get calcium alginate or whatever the hell it is to make some spheres of yogurt. Or it's just like
that's firmly slides into the coffee table cookbook.
Yeah.
When you're sitting around having a glass of wine, flick through it on a Sunday afternoon, you'll get some enjoyment out of it.
Or it's chefs after work, going, what is this guy doing? Going, oh my God, let's try that.
Or what's that crispy alginate? And then you grab the book out and you have a look at it.
Sorry, this is what I was thinking of. Is the Oxford Companion to Wine is probably the no ands, ifs or buts at the starting point for most people with Jancis. And there's a few Aussie contributors in that book now, which is great. And that's probably the one. Certainly when I started in wine and people would ask a question and we didn't have the internet because it wasn't invented, or it took you 12 hours to download one picture, and that book was a reference point. I say to my team now, it's like, you guys have no idea how easy it is.
God,
you just go into the back room and go, I'm just going to check my notes, and you have the entire world of wine in your palm. I would go, I'm just going to check my notes, go into the back room and rifle through Jancis's book, trying to find what the fuck Muscadet is, because I'd never heard of it before. So it's like, cool. I'd read it, learn it. That's in my mind. Then go back out to the customer and go, yeah, no, it's this.
You can see the fucking pretenders in the restaurant now that actually will look at a wine on the wine list and then Google the price to see how much it costs compared to how much it sells for. It's
if
like,
the value's there.
Dude, we do have to pay for rent. We have to pay for the glass. We've got to pay for the staff. We've got to pay for the fuck. It's not going to be the same as Dan Murphy's. I'm telling you now.
And that's that conversation we keep going to value. At some point in time, you're going to make the decision for yourself: is this worth it or not?
Yeah, I know. Mate, you're not going to find any value googling a fucking bottle of wine on the wine list of a restaurant.
But also justifies having wines that people can't find.
Yeah.
Very, very easily. So makes it a lot easier.
Totally agree.
All right. So
books. Keep your eye out. There might be one in the pipeline.
Might be one in the pipeline.
But not for a while yet.
Who knows?
My wife doesn't divorce me straight away.
At least
just opening player.
We've got a photographer ready to go, I think. So
he does badger me about that. I reckon he will be the photographer for it.
We were actually talking about it before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, before you got here today.
Ah, okay. Great.
I was like pestering. Talking's probably a stretch. I was pestering.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Like we should do it.
I'm sure you're really happy we put this as a topic then for tonight. It's like, I really want to talk about that. All right. Well, all the best for the book, you two. We'll see it in a couple of months.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers, guys.
See ya.